All right, so are you ready to dive into compound interest? We're going to take a deep dive into some material on this and see how it can really be a game changer when it comes to building wealth.
You know, it's fascinating how something as seemingly simple as compound interest is often referred to as like the eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah,
There's a real power to it.
I totally get that it's about, earning interest on your interest. It's kind of like that snowball effect. But honestly, it's always seemed a bit abstract to me. Like, what makes it so powerful?
Well, let's look at an example
Okay.
from this article. Will compound interest make you rich?
Okay.
Imagine you invest $10,000 with a 10% annual return.
Hmm.
That means in the first year, you'd earn $1,000 in interest.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. A nice little boost.
Yeah.
But where does the wonder part come in?
Here's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
In year two, you're not just earning interest on that initial $10,000.
Good.
You're now earning interest on the entire $11,000.
So the interest itself is generating more interest.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And this continues year after year. Each year, your interest earnings grow larger because they're calculated on a bigger and bigger base.
Okay.
It's not a straight line upward. It's exponential growth. It's that snowball effect in action.
So the longer you let it ride, the steeper that growth curve gets.
Exactly.
The article mentioned, these two hypothetical investors, Alex and Taylor. Alex starts investing $5,000 a year at age 25,
Okay.
stops at 35, total of $50,000 invested.
Right.
Taylor, on the other hand, starts later at 35, invests the same amount each year, $5,000, but keeps going until 55, so a total of $100,000 invested.
Right.
But surprisingly, Alex ends up with more money at age 55, even though they invested half as much. How is that even possible?
It all comes down to those extra 10 years that Alex's money had to compound. Those early years are so powerful when it comes to harnessing the exponential nature of compound growth. That's why you hear that phrase, time in the market beats timing the market.
So this isn't just theoretical. Like, people are actually building their wealth this way.
Absolutely. This is how many people build wealth over the long term. It's about consistency and patience.
Okay.
You know, the article even highlighted some wisdom from renowned investors,
Yeah.
like Benjamin Graham, who emphasized that investors who remain patient will see the magic of compound interest unfold over time. He knew that playing the long game was key.
Right. And then you've got Warren Buffett, who famously attributes much of his success to compound interest. He even said, "My wealth has come from a combination of living in America, some lucky genes, and compound interest."
It's a pretty compelling endorsement for sure. Even someone who's known for, picking winning stocks recognizes the foundational role compound interest has played in his wealth.
Yeah, and to top it off, there's Tony Robbins, who calls compounding the easiest way to grow your wealth while you sleep.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good to me. But how can we, the listeners, take advantage of this? How do we actually put compound interest to work for us?
Well, that's the key question, isn't it? The beauty is that there are so many ways to make compound interest work for you. This article touches on mutual funds, stocks, which can offer higher returns and really amplify that snowball effect over time.
But, those can feel a little intimidating, especially if you're not like a seasoned investor. Are there simpler ways to kind of tap into this power?
Absolutely. Even something as straightforward as a savings account can benefit from compound interest. While the interest rates might be lower, consistent contributions and leaving that money untouched can lead to surprising gains over the years.
So even small, regular deposits can add up to something significant.
Absolutely.
That's encouraging. The article gave this example of saving just $100 per month, which doesn't sound like much, but with a decent interest rate, it could grow to over $150,000 after 30 years.
Yeah.
That's a real eye-opener. It feels like there's this myth that you need a big chunk of money up front to, make any real progress.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest misconceptions. It's not about having a huge starting sum. It's about consistency in time. Anyone can benefit from compound interest, regardless of their income level.
That's a great point. It makes it feel much more accessible. But I'm also curious about the potential pitfalls. What are some common mistakes that can hinder this whole compounding process?
Yeah, that's a crucial aspect to cover. One of the biggest mistakes, and perhaps the most costly, is simply delaying your start. People often think, I'll start investing when I make more money, or retirement is ages away, I've got time.
Yeah.
But as we saw with Alex and Taylor, those early years are absolutely critical.
It's like that saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. So even if you can only spare a small amount right now, starting is better than waiting.
Exactly. Even small, consistent contributions made early can significantly outweigh larger contributions made later. It's about establishing that habit of saving and investing as early as possible. But it's not just about starting early. Choosing the right investments is equally important. The article calls out low-yield investments as another pitfall.
So even if you start early, settling for measly returns won't get you very far.
Precisely. The rate of return on your investments plays a major role in how quickly that snowball grows. A tiny 1% return, even over decades, won't do much for you. However, chasing high returns without understanding the risks is a recipe for disaster. It's about finding that balance.
So you need a return that outpaces inflation and helps you reach your goals, but you also have to be comfortable with the level of risk involved.
Exactly.
That can be a tricky balance to strike.
You're absolutely right. Doing your research, exploring different investment options, and maybe even seeking advice from a financial advisor can help you develop a strategy that aligns with your goals and risk tolerance. There's another potential pitfall that's often overlooked: withdrawing your earnings prematurely.
Oh, it's tempting to cash in when you see those gains, but it sounds like that could sabotage the whole compounding effect.
Think of it like this. If you constantly take bites out of that snowball before it has a chance to fully roll down the hill, it'll never reach its full potential.
That's a great analogy. But are there ever situations where early withdrawals might make sense?
There are always exceptions, of course. Unexpected life events or emergencies might require accessing some of those funds. But as a general rule, the more you can leave that money undisturbed, the better. Let compound interest work its magic. Reinvest those earnings and watch that snowball grow.
It sounds like patience is truly a virtue when it comes to compound interest. Before we move on, I wanted to touch on something we discussed earlier: the idea of seeking advice from a financial advisor. Could you elaborate a bit on how an advisor can help navigate this?
Sure. A good financial advisor can bring a lot to the table. They can help you assess your risk tolerance, create a diversified investment portfolio, and even guide you through different investment strategies that leverage compound interest effectively. They can also help you stay focused on your long-term goals and avoid emotional decisions, which can often lead to those premature withdrawals we talked about.
So they're like a coach, helping you create a solid game plan and stay disciplined. That makes a lot of sense, especially if you're new to investing or feeling overwhelmed by the choices.
Exactly. It's about finding someone you trust, who understands your financial goals and can tailor a strategy to your specific needs. They can help you navigate the complexities of investing and ensure you're making informed decisions that align with your long-term vision. But even with expert guidance, there's always more to learn. This article barely scratches the surface of the world of compound interest and its applications.
That's a good point. It feels like we've uncovered a lot of key insights about this powerful force, but there's always more to explore. What are some other areas where compound interest comes into play?
One area that's particularly fascinating, and which the article doesn't touch on, is the concept of compound interest applied to skills and knowledge.
Now, that's an interesting twist. You're saying that the same principle of exponential growth can be applied to personal and professional development.
Think about it. Every skill you learn, every book you read, every new experience you gain builds upon what you already know. That knowledge compounds, leading to deeper insights, faster learning, and ultimately a more valuable skill set.
So it's like that snowball effect, but instead of money, it's knowledge and expertise that's accumulating.
Exactly. And just like with financial investments, the earlier you start investing in your skills and knowledge, the greater the potential for exponential growth over time.
That's a powerful concept to consider. It reframes the whole idea of continuous learning and personal growth in a whole new light. It's not just about acquiring knowledge, it's about strategically investing in yourself and letting that knowledge compound over time.
Exactly. And just like with financial investments, consistency and patience are key. Small, consistent efforts, like reading a book a month or taking an online course every quarter, can lead to significant growth over time.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. We've uncovered the power of compound interest, not just in terms of finances, but also in terms of personal and professional development. It's really shifted my perspective on the importance of starting early, making consistent efforts, and letting time do its work.
It's remarkable how this one principle can be applied to so many different areas of life, and it underscores the importance of lifelong learning and continuous improvement. Just as we invest in our financial future, we should also invest in our knowledge, skills, and experiences. The returns can be just as profound.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to start a new book and make a deposit into my savings account. This deep dive has been a real motivator. What about you? What's one key takeaway that's resonated with you today?
That's a great question. For me, it's the realization that compound interest in all its forms is not about magic or luck. It's about making intentional choices today that will reap rewards in the future. It's about planting those seeds, nurturing them, and allowing them to grow into something truly remarkable.
It's interesting, we started this deep dive just talking about building wealth,
Yeah.
but it's really broadened my perspective. It's not just about the money.
Right.
It's about investing in yourself, your knowledge, your future.
Yeah. It's all interconnected, isn't it?
Yeah.
Financial well-being is certainly important, but it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Building a fulfilling life involves investing in all aspects of yourself.
Absolutely. And the beauty of it is that, those investments, whether they're financial or personal,
Yeah.
can compound over time, creating this ripple effect that extends far beyond just the initial effort.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you realize that even small, consistent actions can lead to significant growth in the long run.
Absolutely. It's about shifting your mindset from instant gratification to long-term thinking.
Yeah.
Instead of focusing on quick wins, you start to see the value in planting those seeds and nurturing them patiently.
Right.
The rewards might not be immediate, but they'll be far greater in the end.
This whole concept of compounding applied to personal growth is really intriguing.
Yeah.
It makes me think about, the books I've read, the skills I've developed, even just the relationships I've nurtured over the years.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those experiences have all compounded, shaping who I am today.
It's a fascinating way to view personal development. Each experience, each interaction, each piece of knowledge you acquire adds to the tapestry of your life, creating a richer, more complex whole.
It makes you appreciate the journey,
Yeah.
not just the destination.
Exactly.
It's not about reaching some arbitrary endpoint. It's about continuous growth and evolution.
Yeah.
And it all circles back to that core principle of compound interest.
Mm.
Starting early, being consistent, and trusting the process.
Yeah. I think that's a great takeaway from our deep dive.
Yeah.
Compound interest in all its forms is a reminder that the choices we make today have a profound impact on our future.
Right.
It's about recognizing the power of small, consistent actions and committing to a path of continuous growth and learning.
Well said. This deep dive has been incredibly insightful. I feel like I've gained a whole new understanding of compound interest and its applications, both financially and personally.
Yeah.
I'm definitely walking away with a renewed sense of motivation to invest in myself and my future.
I'm glad to hear that. Remember, it's never too late to start.
Yeah, right.
Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Embrace the power of compounding and watch as your efforts create a ripple effect that transforms your life in ways you never imagined.
Thanks for joining us on this fascinating journey into the world of compound interest. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and are feeling inspired to take action. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, the future is yours to create.